This is Bad Movies We Love, part of the Sheist Podcast Network.
Hello again, Bad Movie lovers. If you're listening to this,
you are the Resistance.
I appreciate you being here with me either again or for the very first time. If you like what you're hearing, you can help support the Resistance by telling a friend, whether that's sharing the show around on social media, leaving a review to help guide somebody else, or actually talking to another human being in person. Those are all great, no-cost ways to help. And if you're interested in becoming a contributing member, you can do so at ko-fi.com, that's ko-fi.com/badmovieswelove. That said, I am your host, Nick Sheist.
The master of the stupid stuff!
And today we are really going to put that moniker to the test more so than ever before, as we treat IQ points like golf scores, where less is more. As my buddy Ryan, who you may know as TheChewDefense, rejoined the show to help me do the math on whether or not you can really be your own grandpa, as we take on John Landis's wildly confident and twice as dumb movie looking to cash in on the brief window where Tom Arnold was a leading man in cinema. We're talking The Stupids from 1996.
Is this supposed to be funny? I don't get it.
You dropped acid and started reading the funny pages, and then this started happening.
Wonder what the fuck am I watching?
They're very stupid. The movie is stupid, but at least knows that it's trying to be stupid.
This is the worst fire extinguisher I've ever seen.
Is this supposed to be funny?
They had two other Tom Arnold movies. They figured, why not?
Oh my god, the version of this movie that exists where Jack Nicholson is the lead would be just... You'd think this movie's insane.
He's old and you want to go through his shit?
He's very much not incognito.
I am nature's greatest wonder.
I'm my own grandpa.
You're your own grandpa?
That's right.
Well, for those of us who've never heard of such a thing, maybe you could explain.
All right, and welcome back to the show, man. It's been a little bit since we did, what was it, Ernest was the last one?
Yeah, so it would have been October.
Yeah, so this feels like an appropriate sort of transition. Because
yeah.
as I was watching this, I was trying to explain to my wife, like, what similar movies might be, and I had a really hard time, like, coming up with sort of what this genre is or who this movie exactly is for.
I guess it's for kids, but also there are a lot of jokes that go over kids' heads, like the whole mafia. Or I don't know if you call it mafia or like an I think it's like a weapons arms deal, and that somebody who's pissed off at the military yeah,
it's like black market weapons dealing. So not quite mafia, but definitely like some organized illegal crime going on. And that's kind of like a heady, well, it's an adult subject for kids. So I was trying to think of like maybe like Three Ninjas was a movie that sort of felt like it was in the same like energy wavelength as this, but still it was a very weird experience to come back and watch this. But for those who are tuning in right
Little Rascals, maybe?
Yeah, I could see that as well. But yeah, for those people that are tuning in that are like, what the fuck are these two talking about? We're talking about The Stupids from 1996, directed by the John Landis, not just some nobody. I mean, this is the Coming to America, American Werewolf in London, John Landis, Three Amigos. And
I was going to say brothers, the Blues Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently the movie he did right before this was a little film called Beverly Hills Cop 3.
right?
So he goes from Beverly. So he goes from movie that killed Beverly Hills Cop franchise because I guess because there have outside of the one that's coming out in the summer. There hasn't been one since, and I think a lot of people don't like the third one.
I mean, it's not as good as the first two, but like, it's still Eddie Murphy, so he can still have an entertaining
And then
time with
he
it.
goes to this.
Yeah, weird choice. I'm
Apparently,
curious.
this is based on a children's story that I had never heard. I had not heard of, and I was not familiar with it at the time as a child.
It is not a children's book that I read, but I knew at the time that it was coming out that it was based on something. And I never read it, so I didn't really have any context. But the more I watched this, I was like, this movie feels like it's like a comic strip come to life. Like you dropped acid and started reading the funny pages, and then this started happening because it doesn't feel like a movie that belongs in this dimension.
How about those cats? Or the cat and the dog?
Yeah, why are they stop motion? Claymation, nonetheless. What is happening?
The movie did. Are they stop motion or are they CGI? Because they look a little CGI. Well, like mid '90s CGI.
That's possible, but then what make it look like clay with the CGI work? I can't tell. That's what I'm saying. It's bizarre.
Also, this movie cost $25 million.
What did they do with that money? Did they just give it to all the directors to come and have cameos?
The explosions, maybe.
That's true. Look, in fairness, this movie blew some shit up in very good fashion. I was surprised.
Yeah, you got a car you got a couple of cars that explode. Oh, that's one good powerful shoe.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to kill the Drive B.
They did blow up a lot of stuff. So I'll give them that. Their pyro budget was well planned for because they have some like large scale real explosions that go a long way. But again, like that's kind of something that doesn't really go hand in hand with your average kids movie that's like a PG movie.
Also, the last act in the warehouse. You've got guns, you got threats with guns, you got bad guys slipping on. Are they slipping on nails or are they supposed to be bullets?
I think they're bullets.
And Joan with the flamethrower.
Yeah,
that's the worst. This is the worst fire extinguisher I've ever seen.
Yeah, and the daughter, she like casually just like throws a grenade and like kills some people, definitely. But it's all sort of in the background to this slapstick adventure that we're on. But this is a movie that I think very squarely falls into the sort of bad movies we love category, unlike some other movies that get brought to the show where it's beloved. This is one that's got a low audience and low critic score. It's a 4.3 on IMDb. It's got a 21 critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 38 audience score. It's a little better. Metacritic didn't even bother with this movie. They're just pretending it doesn't exist. But on Letterboxd, it has a 2.4, so that's probably the highest, but it has one of those graphs where it looks really weird on Letterboxd.
Yeah, like I haven't looked on the Letterboxd yet, but I assume it's people that love this movie as a kid or people that are forced to watch it for. Oh, yeah, I know who would be forced to watch it.
Anybody that listens to this show.
If that, or if you're doing a John Landis retrospective for whatever reason, because like because he's old and you want to go through his shit. So you got the movie where he may or may not have killed kids. Yeah, I know. You got that, American Werewolf in London, Animal House, and then The Stupids.
Yeah, one of these things is not like the other.
Also, I believe this was one of his last movies. I mean, he's still alive, but he hasn't really directed many. I think he's done some TV.
I mean, he made this movie, and then it was Blues Brothers 2000 was the last one that I remember. And it looks like he's still been working a little bit, but mostly stuff that I haven't seen.
Stuff on TV.
Yeah.
Something called Susan's Plan. I've never heard of that. Have you?
Nope.
Have you heard of Burke and Hare?
Nope.
I like too that because I had the VHS, we got a commercial for a movie with Cher. Cher and somebody else. I think it was R-rated. We got something for Joe's Apartment. You remember Joe's Apartment?
I do. That movie would be a good fit on this show, to be fair. But it's a lot better, I think, than The Stupid.
We had a spot for Carpool, which is the other Tom Arnold did like 3 or 4 movies in '95.
Mm-hmm.
And we had one for, you remember a movie called Trial and Error with Jeff Daniels and Michael Richards? This is what I'm getting from the trailer because I haven't seen the movie. Jeff Daniels is an experienced, big-time hotshot lawyer, and Michael Richards takes his place. And chaos goes from there.
Sounds familiar, honestly. I might have seen that, but I don't have any solid memories.
It would have been Michael Richards, peak Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And Jeff Daniels coming off Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, so it makes sense that like you could theoretically get these two in a movie together and have it be successful, but I mean, judging by the fact that you haven't seen it, I don't remember it. I'm guessing it wasn't very good.
I don't, and also the trailer makes an O.J. Simpson joke.
Hey,
come see the second most outrageous trial of the century.
Well, we just did Idle Hands on the show, and there's an OJ joke.
Yeah, I think OJ was still going on at that point. If it Trial and Error came out in late '95, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember the timeline for the OJ trial.
I think it ended in '95 or '96.
This
came out in '97.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch the trailer and see if I remember it because it sounds familiar. But you brought this to the table. And
yes, I did.
Yeah, we had talked about several other movies that were sort of floating around as ideas that we could do. And I asked you to just like, well, pick the one that like you feel most strongly about. And you didn't even hesitate. You just The Stupids. Yeah. Let's do that one. So was this something that you grew up with? Like, were you watching this in the late '90s as a kid? And
yeah, a lot.
The nostalgia.
Many times and on VHS. And because I don't have, I think it's on DVD. I think my brother might still have it. I had to watch this on VHS, which means tracking issues. The entire top of the screen was blue because I guess the tracking was all, or somehow the tape got worn in the almost 30 years I've had that tape.
Tom Arnold's suit burned the film.
Well, all the costumes really.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, they made some distinct choices with these costumes, and they don't ever change clothes, so they sort of like adhere to the cartoon style.
Yeah, it takes place over the course of a day.
I mean, but he ends up in like the back of a garbage truck and stuff, and I mean, his kid is wearing a suit at breakfast.
And well, hell, the first shot that introduces the family to show that they're stupid. They don't sleep at the top. They sleep at the edge of the bed. Their heads are at the edge of the bed.
Yeah, they're very stupid. The movie is stupid, but it like at least knows that it's trying to be stupid. So it's like self-aware in that way, which makes it a weird experience to watch because I'm trying to understand. Like, John Landis is making this. Is he really trying to appeal to like the maybe 10 to 12-year-olds that would watch this? Is this something that, maybe his kids were reading the books at the time, or he was reading them to his kids, and he decided that like, hey, this is a project I want to take on for their sake, puts his kid in the movie, so that would at least like add up.
Yeah. John Landis's kid, Max, who became a director and is kind of an idiot and an asshole. He is. There's a shot where after the mother talks into the garage door opener, and almost like the guy on Twin Peaks, and hits the button, and there's a bunch of paint that flies everywhere, and this kid gets a line, and that's Max Landis, director of Chronicle, and did he do Fantastic Four? No, that was somebody else.
Yeah, Chronicle's good though. So knowing that this movie is well, that it has the sort of massive negative reputation that it does, yet is made by somebody with a fairly good reputation. Why, besides, I guess, the obvious things, would someone watch this movie and think it's a bad movie?
I don't know. The apparently a lot of people or like critics, I guess saw it and what and or critics might have seen it or because they have to.
Yeah.
And I guess John Landis completists might have seen it and wonder what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And apparently,
Go for
according to IMDb, Tim Allen and Jack Nicholson were either approached or they put them on the list of who can play Stanley Stupid.
Yeah, I think Tim Allen could have done it because this was sort of like in his comedy spectrum at the time.
But Tom Arnold seems almost perfectly cast for it because given the characters that I mean, I think he was married to Roseanne at that point.
Yeah, probably.
And I think he was coming off True Lies, which I believe was his big breakthrough.
Probably into like the movies because, he cashed that in and had like, 3 leading roles the next year?
Yeah, he did this.
You said Carpool was the other one. And then the third one, I don't remember off the top of my head. But you had mentioned also Jack Nicholson. Oh my God, the version of this movie that exists where Jack Nicholson is the lead would be just, you think this movie's insane. I can't even imagine what that movie would have been like.
Do you remember a movie called Big Bully?
Yes, vaguely.
Where one of Rick Moranis' last roles?
Yes.
And also, this movie did not kill Tom Arnold's career.
Somehow.
You know how sometimes a movie is so bad or gets such or is so negative that it's like we're not putting him in any or you're done.
Yeah, basically, it's just like poison. I guess maybe because he had the other 2 movies and this one, like they were all just kind of bad. So like, okay, well maybe he's not a leading man, but put him back into sort of the supporting actor role and he's good to go.
Yeah, he has the cameo in Austin Powers. He's the cowboy. He has a big supporting part in the Steven Seagal movie Exit Wounds.
Yep. Is that the one with DMX?
Yeah.
I think Michael J. White's in that too. He fights him with like a sword or something.
I don't remember. I haven't seen Exit Wound in so many years.
Yeah, I mean, Steven Seagal's made so many movies that are similar. I could be confusing it with a different Steven Seagal movie where he fights a guy with a sword. But I know I had asked you as well, if you wanted to prepare a haiku to give us a brief overview, synopsis of what this movie is about. And I don't know if you had time, but if you did, you can roll it out.
I did not, but I can do it off the top of my head.
Go for it.
The movie kind of begins where Stanley Stupid wonders why the garbage is missing and goes outside to investigate. He falls asleep and then eventually chases the garbage truck into the dump and apparently stays there long enough and becomes a bush, which is so stupid, but it's so great too. I am nature's greatest wonder. And then I guess stays there long enough to find out that there are some bad men there and that apparently an arms deal is going on. And they all can't tell if they think he's smart, which I guess is, and then with the family. Also, the family adventure begins because Buster, the boy's son, is supposed to write a letter saying, "Dad has been kidnapped. We are going to the police. Help us." And all he writes is, "The police have kidnapped your children." and then the mother finds it and freaks out and goes from there. Oh yeah. Also, they go to like the newspaper, and they have to deal. And then Petunia, the daughter, is apparently the smart one, or the semi-smart one, and figures out what the internet is, and then figures out the password, which is actually the byline to like the news, and then puts a picture of Stanley in the floppy disk drive, which for those of you who are old enough to remember, a floppy disk drive goes into the computer. And I think it was a big floppy disk drive because it was 95 or 96 when this came out. And then you get then a big screen that says Fatal Error Drive B. And that eventually leads to a Christopher Lee cameo where he gets to play Mr. Sender. And then they go to a museum and they meet God or Lloyd, played by Frankie Faison, who was also on The Wire. And when I'm watching it, it's like, oh yeah, it's him. If you know certain people, there was a lot of Leo pointing.
Yeah.
And then after they get out of the museum, they find who Mr. Sender is. There happens to be a Charles Sender that exists. Apparently, he's a big like the curator at the museum, and he goes to the TV network to show or to give an interview, and then hilarity goes on from there. There's also a Norman Jewison cameo who just passed away. He did what? Rollerball, Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
It's crazy shit. Also, the guy that was the stage manager was the Canadian director Adam Egyptian, who's done a bunch of Canadian, or he did a movie called Chloe with Amanda Seyfried and Julianne Moore and Liam Neeson. There are a lot of
Adam Magoyan.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, lots and lots of cameos. And I had a hard time trying to narrow this down into a haiku because this movie's all over the damn place. So it doesn't really have too much of a through line other than like things just all fall into place conveniently. But I gave it a shot. And what I came up with was one man stolen trash, secret army weapon stash, thwarted by surprise. And that's the best I could do to try to wrap my head around.
In other words, I don't know what a fucking haiku is, so I just read it off. Oh yeah. Also, while at the TV station, Stanley Stupid gets to sing the favorite "I Am My Own Grandpa."
He does,
which I still remembered all the words to.
Yeah, I didn't remember all the words, but I remembered the scene, and then after it was over, like the melody just stuck in my head, and I was singing it as we were going upstairs to bed, and my wife just looks at me and she's like, "You're a psychopath."
Also, if you go on YouTube, that's a real song from like
it is
30.
a real song. Yeah, it is indeed.
And also, there is a very subtle Woody Allen joke during that scene, where the talk show host, who I believe was a talk show host at the time, although for the longest time I always thought that was supposed to be like a ploy on Oprah, but apparently she had her own show at that time, and I think it's supposed to be people who are kind of like a Jerry Springer thing, and he kind of goes, "I left my wife to marry her daughter."
Yeah,
which is exactly what happened with Woody Allen circa 91. So
yes,
if that's supposed to be a dig at Woody Allen, or IMDb doesn't mention anything about it, maybe I should put that in a contribute as like a contribution to it.
Yeah, they're not going to stop you. Someone will correct you if they think you're wrong, but I think it adds up because I forget what exactly like the talk show was, but it was like Unconventional Families or something like that. But Rolanda Watts was an actual talk show host with her own show at the time that this was filming, but she doesn't get credited as herself. She just got credited as talk show host.
And also the scene with Jenny McCarthy and the other talk show host
Yes.
with the applause button. This light switch doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And then the classic, which kind of pulls I don't know if Anchorman stole this joke later, but the talk show host reads cue card verbatim, and we have this great chef coming in, so let's give it to the fat guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the chef happened to be a little overweight.
Yeah, he did not take kindly to that.
No.
Yeah, it's like there's like gag humor and like punchline humor, but some of the stuff I'm looking at like, okay, this is actually not as like, it is stupid, but it has to be written by someone trying to make it stupid. So it's like trying to funnel intelligent jokes into becoming stupid. And you had mentioned the scene with the plant, right? And
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, he is dressed like a plant. Like that's one
That's supposed to be his disguise.
Okay, that's one thing, right? That's dumb enough because it's like he's using a bush that he can't even hide behind. Okay, I get it. That part's stupid. But in the middle of that, he's like convincing himself that he has to like think like a plant, right? And in the process of doing that, he like becomes self-aware as a plant and then starts discovering the fact that he has arms and legs. Like that's a smarter joke than just the hiding behind the plant thing. And it was just weird how some of that stuff was weaved in there in the middle of it being this other kind of comedy as well.
And also the trash guy looks at him almost bafflingly like, what's going on with him?
Exactly, because he's screaming the whole time too. He's very much not incognito.
And also the trash guy doesn't realize that he's being followed because or doesn't care. Do you remember the hopscotch bit? Because he's on roller skates, and as a way to hide from the garbage man when the car stops, he goes over to like a kid's like there's like a hopscotch thing, and he does the hopscotch thing, and all the kids cheer for him.
Oh,
and it's clearly a double. Because I don't think Tom Arnold could have done that on roller skates.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to ask him to either, I don't think, because worst case scenario, it's not going to turn out so well, you know. But let's take a look at the trailer, because I don't remember this being marketed that much. But
I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe it was on the I remember I think it was either seeing the videotape cover or seeing an ad for it on some TV show or on some movie or some VHS tape from New Line. I don't know what.
Yeah, that's a good question. My sister's husband used to work for New Line, but I don't think he was the one that was responsible for me seeing this movie, to be fair.
Yeah, I believe, according to IMDb, the original studio went bankrupt, and I guess New Line. I think they were they still? I believe they were semi-associated with Warner Brothers at that point, or under the same kind of umbrella. And because they had two other Tom Arnold movies, they figured why not
to release the Tom Arnold trilogy in one year, much to everybody else's dismay. But yeah, let's take a look at the trailer, because I don't know if I've seen this at all in my life, but we'll take a look.
Before we check out that trailer, it's time for a quick word from our sponsor. In a world where superheroes have been ostracized, arrested, and executed, crime is running rampant. Violence rules the streets, and the police are overrun. But hope is not lost, because thanks to some questionable genetic engineering from shady Australian scientists, there's some new kids on the block when it comes to crime fighting. They're furry, they're fierce, and they're a friend to those in need. They're the Combat Wombats. Armed with powerful claws, an artillery of cubed feces, and sophisticated tunneling skills, these marvelous marsupials underwent extensive eugenics to become the lean, mean crime-fighting machines of the future. They may be cute, but if you break the law, they will fuck your shit up. and then they'll leave a little cube turd atop your defeated carcass. You can catch this wisdom of wombats on your television sets Wednesday nights at 8 on the Totally Stupid Network. And now, back to the show.
The weapons you are about to see are American-made.
The world is in grave danger.
International law has long kept you from
It's
acquiring
like a grenade launcher
I
pistol.
hope to help you overcome that.
And there's only one family who can save it.
I've uncovered the crime of the century.
They call them fearless. They call them dangerous. They call them the
Ouch.
Stupids.
Hey, pause it for a second. Pause it for a second. That's the same music from Mortal Kombat.
Is it?
Yeah. That if you ever seen the trailer, that's the same music from Mortal Kombat.
Wow. All right, I'm gonna have to watch the Mortal Kombat trailer.
During the intro to one of the fights.
Yeah, I'd read some tidbit about one of the trailers sort of made it seem like an action movie and used music from Rumble in the Bronx because they were under the same flagship. So I think they're both New Line distributed.
Yeah, this trailer kind of makes it seem at first it's supposed to be an action movie, and then they cut to Tom Arnold.
Right. I know.
The world's greatest arms deal.
All right. Well, let's see. This lady's halfway stuck through the window. What else we got?
New Line
Oh, that's right. He electrocutes himself on a car battery.
The only family that does all its own stunts.
Impossible.
Whatever.
Tom Arnold is stupid.
My family and I did not wish to fight you. Get him!
Are they giving up?
No. Stanley stupid.
What you been doing?
This and that. Had breakfast, read the paper, saved the world.
The Stupids.
Now that's a well-made shoe.
Yeah, it's an interesting one right there.
And also, I like too that when he electrocutes himself, he becomes smart.
Yeah, like that's a bit of the script that like lets me know that they know what they're doing, you know?
Like I've uncovered this scheme, that this arms deal, and it makes no sense whatsoever. I gotta keep this in my head. What's wrong, dear? I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that kind of a joke, that at least tells me that the script knows that it's dumb and it's trying to lean into like being stupid while also being fun for like more intelligent writers and performers to actually take part in. So I can understand Landis maybe having fun with this and like thinking it's going to be well received and fun, and then it's sort of falling on its face. It ended up being the lowest grossing movie of his at the box office. And it had been
Also,
really successful up till that point.
I'm looking at the writer's credits.
Mhm.
He wrote for The Simpsons. He wrote for Mr. Show. He was later a successful writer on The Office.
Is this Marshall? James Marshall?
No. Brent Forrester,
Mm.
who's the credited writer of
He
this movie.
did the screenplay, yeah.
Yeah. So he did a couple episodes of The Simpsons. He did a couple episodes of I was gonna say Mr. Show, but it looks like he joined that after that. So I guess they somehow picked the guy. Let's get somebody from The Simpsons to write stupid jokes and see what fits.
I mean, it makes sense in the 90s. Like, The Simpsons was the flagship of animated series. on television, and it was really funny at the time as well. So you bring in one of their writers, like, hey, can you adapt another comic strip style? I think it was a kid's book series, but that'd be like taking any of those other properties. I mean, really reimagining most children's books as like live action stories is kind of frightening. I mean, they did Where the Wild Things Are, but that's a lot more serious tone of a film than this is, which clearly wants to acknowledge that it is in fact stupid, but have fun in the process.
Trying to see where I'm on not Wikipedia, Rotten Tomatoes, and the guy from Entertainment Weekly gave it an F.
Okay. Well,
and of course,
not
page not found,
surprised.
so I can't. And we can't look at his review because
Entertainment Weekly
went down.
They didn't pay their bills.
Yeah.
Come on, guys and gals. Make sure you pay your bills for your website archives. But yeah, this movie is so strange on a number of levels, because on one hand, it's sort of like a family adventure story in the vein of maybe like National Lampoon's Vacation, right? Where none of them are super bright and they get into shenanigans and some like stuff is happening around them and they're not necessarily directly responsible for it, but they're part of that story. So to see that this is kind of adult, but also aimed at kids, it's a very fine line to walk. It's a hard needle to thread. So I understand why there was a lot of like negative reaction to this movie, but also it's not like entirely foreign when it comes to movies that sort of operate within this realm of humor around that time.
Never do that today in a kid's movie.
No, definitely not. I mean, you could probably not even really do that in an adult comedy, to be honest, these days. But there was that one, and the other one that like stood out to me the most was to the Jamaican guy. He says, "Cool runnings, my brother," and I was like, "What the fuck did he just say?" I mean, I love Cool Runnings, but
also I associate Christopher Lee with this movie almost as much, if maybe even not more, than like the Lord of the Rings.
He should have been in more of this movie, to be fair, because if we really get Christopher Lee as like the devil,
Mr. Stender.
Yeah, he's like the devil who enjoys opening people's mail and like misfiling it
And then throwing it in fire.
Yeah, they like built a nice set for him, and like you spent a lot of energy and effort to give us that character with like very particular design choices in mind, but then he's only in that one scene, right?
It was probably a favor.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, well, like I assume a lot of the director cameos were either I believe IMDb lists that apparently director cameos are like a John Landis thing, where apparently in a lot of John Landis's later movies there are a bunch of cameos.
Yeah, who's available?
But like getting like David Cronenberg to come in for a day,
right? Maybe not even. Maybe it was like just come in for like after lunch and we're gonna shoot this one scene and then you can get out of here. So maybe like Cronenberg was on the lot or something where they were filming and it would just convenient.
What was he doing? What would he have been doing at that time? Action Signs?
Yeah. I think that was 95 or 97. So it was around this time.
And also Robert Wise as the neighbor.
Yeah. Let's see.
Who I think was old then.
He was. Yeah, and you had mentioned Norman Jewison. Gilo Pontecorve was also, I don't know that name, but Mick Garris I recognized. Gurinder Chad, Costa Garvis. It's a lot. That's like 8 or 9 different roles that are just director cameos. But it's nice. Make movies with your friends.
Actually, I think the Italian guy that was one of the guests during the I'm My Own Grandpa bit. I don't know if he's the one that does the Woody Allen joke. I did not recognize Mick Garris or where he was.
It's a surprising list. Garrus was one of the reporters.
I'm trying to think where there was a reporter in that movie.
I think it was only like, didn't they interview them at the end after everything was settled?
No, yeah.
That's the only time I can think of. Like I said, this movie like is all over the place. It's not exactly the easiest movie to track in general. So even though, like you said, it happens all basically in a day, the plot is, I don't know, if you step back far enough, it's pretty straightforward. Like, dumb guy investigates something that isn't really a thing, stumbles onto something that is really a thing. Fortunately, he's stupid and lucky and manages to not die throughout the process and becomes the hero at the end of the day. And his family too. Yes, they're equally as stupid, and there's three of them to be that stupid. I think now's maybe a good time. I know you read some of the IMDb stuff, so now I think is probably a good time to get into the trivia if you're up for it.
Time for trivia!
All right, let's see. What was I able to write down from these trivia notes? All right, question number 1. Mark Metcalf reprised his role of Colonel Niedermeyer from which 70s comedy?
I believe it was Animal House.
It was Animal House.
And what's funny too is that at the end of Animal House, they like apparently in like the late 70s, early 80s comedies, they like to do a where what happened to them, and apparently his character dies.
Oh,
or his character died late.
They retconned him back in with this one. He survived. Okay, question 2. That I'm My Own Grandpa song is a real song, and it was originally recorded by whom?
I can't tell you. Let's do a fuck it. Willie Nelson.
That would have been fantastic. I want to hear that version of the song. I don't know who Lonzo and Oscar are, but that is the duo that originally recorded the song back in 1947.
I wonder if there is a version of I Am My Own Grandpa by like a Willie Nelson or a Dolly Parton.
That's homework. Once we get done recording, we're both going to hop on Spotify and be looking for covers of I'm My Own Grandpa by significantly better artists. And question number 3, how much did Tom Arnold get paid for this movie?
How he got that kind of money, I don't know, but it's $5 million.
There you go, $5 million, correct. So he got what, a fifth of the overall production budget for this? The other $20 million went into explosives.
and the stop motion and or a CGI cat or animal. Well, you had the CGI cat, you had the CGI dog or stop motion, and then you had the aliens.
Correct.
That randomly pop up.
Yeah, so I was going to ask about that
because I like to do that all because of the way how they typed in on the computer and screwed everything up. What they were, or at least what they thought were doing a like getting into the password. And the headline ends up being 2 alien pilots pick nose. And it's supposed to be 2 alien pilots get picked up by HBO. Because I think the news reporter mentions some TV show that got a pilot order about aliens.
Interesting.
And then they screwed it up, and it ends up being 2 alien pilots pick nose by Stanley Stupid with his picture on the front cover. Which also destroyed all the computers and caused the fire alarm, the fire people to come.
Well, when the movie starts, we're looking at like the night sky, so there's a lot of stars, and like I couldn't help but think of Men in Black, and part of my brain was like, are there aliens in this movie? It doesn't make sense that there are aliens, but like
you didn't remember the bit with the aliens?
I did not at all.
And they appear at the end.
They do. I mean, they're not like a big part of it, which makes it even stranger that there just happens to be like aliens in this movie, but that's like not even the subplot. It's even lower.
It's almost feels like that ending almost feels like a post credits kicker
Yeah.
where it's like everybody saved the day and we need something else, but luckily Stanley is stupid and uses that's not charcoal, the lighter fluid.
Hmm.
And because he's not very smart, he pours lighter fluid on the aliens and throws a match towards them instead of on the ground.
Yeah, because they needed like just that one more gag for him.
Well, also the cat and the dog make an appearance again. Or maybe they realized, hey, we haven't spent we still got like $5 million left in the budget. Let's bring the aliens back, let's bring the dog back, and let's bring the cat back.
Get it while the getting's good, I guess. But do you remember? I'm sure you do. Suburban Commando.
Yes. Hulk
That
Hogan.
that is something where the aliens being involved seems to like line up. I mean, yes, the Hulk Hogan movie from 1991,
I think I saw
Suburban
that.
Commando.
I think I either saw that in theaters or like video.
Yeah, it's Hulk Hogan, Christopher Lloyd, Shelley Duvall, and he is an alien, I think, and he's being hunted by aliens. So that's kind of like what I felt, sort of energy wise, was comparable to this, because something like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is around this time as well. Family oriented kids movie, but done with a lot more like intentful humor and heart than this.
Also, another, I believe this is. Do you remember the other Hulk Hogan movie called Mr. Natty?
Yes.
I believe
Unfortunately.
that could also be in that same genre
Yeah, I guess Hulk
where
Hogan
he
he went
plays
from
in it.
WCW to kids movie icon.
Yep.
I mean, he could have done worse, I guess, but he had like No Holds Barred and a bunch of stuff. Maybe at some point I'm even gonna do just like Hulk Hogan exclusives month and only watch like the worst possible Hulk Hogan movies. I don't know if there's even any good ones, to be honest. Like Rocky 3's got a cameo, but anything where he's the
Thund-
lead, I don't know.
Thunderlips.
He's only in that movie for like 5 minutes, though.
But you could argue it's his best performance.
That and like No Holds Barred probably are the two where it'd be like, okay, he's actually doing some acting.
He does. I haven't seen no. Also, for No Holds Barred, they for SummerSlam of that year, they brought in Tiny Lister
Yes, they did.
to be Zeus, and it was Zeus and I believe Brutus Beefcake with Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage in a big tag team match.
Yeah, did they do something similar with Mr. T like during the
first WrestleMania?
Yeah.
After Mr. T came in.
And was that cross promoting with Rocky 3 at the
don't-
time, which they both did?
The story goes that apparently Vince McMahon, the rapist Vince McMahon, or alleged rapist Vince McMahon, fired Hulk Hogan after Rocky 3 because apparently he did it without permission. And then like a year or so later they brought him back. And then he became heavyweight champion. He beat the Iron Sheik. Although the Sheik did make him humble years later.
A little trek down wrestling history there.
Yeah, and then eventually Hulk Hogan and Mr. T teamed at the first ever WrestleMania.
That's what it was. And that was in the 80s at some point, but I don't remember the exact timeline compared to Rocky 3.
Rocky 3 was 82 or 83. The first WrestleMania was 85.
Okay, so they became friends filming Rocky 3, and he's like, yeah, come do this.
Yeah, I believe wasn't the A-Team on the air at that point?
Yes, I think they still were.
I believe. Yeah. Mr. T became known for the A-Team. Also, according to the Wikipedia page, the cinema score is a C+
on this movie.
Yeah,
well, that's surprising.
Which is surprisingly not terrible.
It's not,
because
it's a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, a C+ is basically what horror movies get. Like I know Immaculate got a C+.
Wow. I mean, I don't know if their grading standards have changed, but to think that this and Immaculate are in the same ballpark of quality is
granted. I think I guess families didn't hate it. I know critics hated it, but I guess the families didn't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it is meant basically for families to go and like have a I don't even know, like you just get out of the heat and go see this one afternoon and it's not offensive in any way. You know, the
And this
dad can
came out
have fun watching
there
shit blow up.
are some offensive jokes in there, but
Yeah.
this came out on August 30th, 1996. This could have been Labor Day weekend.
So yeah, you're
I don't
looking
know.
at definitely a summer movie though, but it did not do well in the box office. It made only like 10% of its money back. And, you know, I can see why. I'm sure word of mouth did not do a ton for this film. And it is just super weird in terms of its tone, but I did have a lot of moments where like I couldn't help myself from laughing at like how a capable director and capable actor would try to take something on the page and make it work in the
Yeah.
way that it did. Like there's little stuff and a lot of it I think is Tom Arnold's like physical performance. Like is this
Or I
supposed
don't.
to be funny?
Is this supposed to be funny? I don't get it. Also, I like too that the first joke is him taking out a piece of paper and saying, "Let's see, things to do today. Great check mark on paper. Check marks on paper."
Yeah, exactly. Like it lets you know pretty early on that it's going to be fairly dumb. So don't get your hopes up if you think it's going to be anything beyond this. It's not like they hid that from the audience.
Or you can assume they're fully grown adults. Why are
We
they
can
just now?
assume.
Why are they now just realizing that the garbage gets taken every Monday or whatever day it is?
Yeah, like my guy, you have a house and a wife and kids, but you don't understand like trash pickup on a regular basis. So like okay, it's far-fetched. I get that. But, you know, when he sits down with his wife inside after they realize that their trash has been stolen, right? And they're trying to like plot and plan of like, "Oh my god, there's a thief that's stealing garbage." The wife says this thing about like, "Oh, well, we're just going to have to borrow some garbage until we get back on track." And it's like that's a smart part of the joke where like yes, the idea that our trash got stolen is stupid, but like her being like, oh well, if we don't have garbage, like we're not as good as the person next to us, so we can just borrow some garbage to like keep up appearances. And that's a much smarter part of the joke than the beginning of it.
Also, I like too that the garbage the garbage is stolen, and then that same night he goes out and apparently the garbage gets taken again. Because like in most cities and households, the garbage gets taken once a week, maybe twice, not back to back days. But according to this movie, it gets taken in back to back days unless he somehow hallucinates it,
I
which
mean,
he kind of does because like the garbage men have gas masks on and you have this scary music.
yeah, it's all put out there as if it is like very serious. So he takes it very serious. But the smile on his face the entire time, his exuberance, like when shaking hand with the general and he gets the keys, right? Or Colonel
Yeah.
Niedermeyer. Like Tom's performance in it, I think really imbues it with a lot of energy. And I mean, one of my favorite scenes in the movie, he just like strolls in there to the arm deal and they're basically like telling him to get lost. And he's talking to like the 8 foot tall Russian guy.
Yeah.
And then
He's like, ooh, rat.
Mhm.
I hear you, pal. I hear you loud and clear.
He leans into the other guy so close to his ear to ask him if he has a pen. It's like that little kind of stuff. Like he's just such a fish out of water. He's so out of place with everything that's happening. But then as we get
I like too that when he gets the pen, the guy's jacket opens up so far wide that you see that he's got a gun on him. Like, can I borrow a pen? Sure.
Yeah, his awareness of what's happening around him is very, very low.
And then it's 2 wheels. No, 4. And then he decides 8 wheels is the best idea.
Yeah, because
So it's
I guess
roller
he
skate.
thinks, yeah, 8 wheels is more speed than You know, the more you increase the wheels, the faster you go.
Because they're not smart.
It's fortunate that he has to have like rollerblades right there. I mean, because you could do that entire scene with him just getting in the car and following them, and he still ends up at the trash dump. He still ends up in the same situation, but working your way through it from like, oh, the car, bicycle, rollerblades, and that's going to end up being his decision says a lot about him.
But then you don't get the gag where he where at a stop sign he decides, oh, this is a bench, I'm going to take a nap.
Yeah.
And then at the gas station he loses track of them. Like, where did they go? I've lost them. And then he turns around and is like, just in the last place he thought you'd walk.
I want to ask you though, do you think his kid Buster is a psycho? Because I'm like, this kid's evil. Because when he starts mapping out like his plan, it involves, time traveling, getting people to worship him. He's like, the world will belong to Buster. I'm like, oh wow.
Oh, he's also not very well. Also because he doesn't realize that the elevator is he thinks the elevator is a time machine.
Yes.
And they happen to go and the floor that they happen to go to is the like the dinosaur museum, or not
natural history.
The floor with the dinosaurs.
Yeah, but he okay, he's dumb for thinking that it's a time machine, yes. But he does think that they traveled back in time, and his plan is to convince everybody that he's basically the ruler of the earth. And he seems to take great joy from that. So I'm like, oh man, they really raised a little bit of a psycho here. Both of the kids are a little weird for sure.
Yeah, the sister seems to be like the semi-smart one.
Mm-hmm.
Because also the running. I think they did this gag twice where they lose the track of the keys. Where it's like he turns the car keys and like car won't start.
He puts the keys in the glove box later. Car won't start. It took all four of them to figure it out.
Because they don't drive, or I guess in this family the dad drives.
I mean, I think was pretty common on a lot of like families in TV, because it's almost like they're a Leave It to Beaver style family where like they're happy. It's almost like very much like a TV sitcom where it's like they have the nice house, they dress in these big, bright, colorful clothes. They have this sort of nuclear family of mom, dad, 2 kids, plus the pets. They have the station wagon. Like everything sort of lines up the way that it would in like crafting what is Leave It to Beaver, 50s, 60s era television? 50s. Yeah, so that sort of like family identity, but then taking that, putting it in a modern world, really keeping them earnest and like good people to each other, but also just like stripping out any level of common sense or basic adult intelligence.
Also, I like too that the mother is not a very good driver. I mean, the mother sees her kids, she's like, look, it's my children, and then she stops and it causes a big pile up.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently walks away, and is able to walk away. not like goes and checks to see if everybody's okay, and also there's the gag too near when they get to the TV station where the woman's doing her makeup and lights up a cigarette, and she creams right into her, which also could be a nice reminder: don't smoke. I mean, don't smoke and park.
Isn't that how they find the son? Like they're walking through the hallway. He looks in the window. He said they're looking for signs of something strange, right? This is after they talk to Lloyd at the planetarium, who they mistake for God. But
which he's also God is from The Wire.
Yeah, I mean, look, of all the things that happen in this movie, the conversation that they get to have with Frankie Faison as Lloyd, God, whatever.
It's not Lord, it's Lloyd. We've been pronouncing it wrong the entire time.
Yeah, and you like, even though they're dumb and they have this like complete ridiculous moment, what they get told is still pretty earnest. It's like, be good to people, like, clean up after yourself, like, and just like treat each other well. So it's funny that it sticks with them so much.
And there's a callback to it when he says, "Don't pick up the gum,"
mm-hmm.
or pick up the gun because when Stanley is kidnapped by the terrorists, picking up or spitting the gum out is what causes him to get out.
He hulks out. He just rips through his. He wasn't handcuffed, but he was like tied down. He just ripped the ropes apart, breaks the chair. Yeah, and they have a gun on him. They still don't shoot him. So it's like, you get these big explosions and you get action beats, but the action beats are still played for kids, like with the telephone pole knocking them into the ground.
The only real bit with guns are the terrorists trying to shoot out the car, and shoots out the gas tank, and which he escapes because of the drive B. Oh my God! It's a drive B.
Yeah, it's
thank God for bees.
Yeah, everything just sort of conveniently lines up, even though they're wrong about everything. Every single clue that they interpret is wrong, but it still just happens to all lead them in the right direction.
Also, a thing that I have taken from this movie and still quote is the bit where they're in the warehouse. Stanley is running around like an idiot, and they're giving him directions like left, left, left. No, the other left. You know your other left. I have admittedly said that out loud. It's like, no, your other left.
That's a fun scene. It's almost like they're playing Pac-Man or something. The family's all trying to like work together to get him away from these people that are pursuing him. And, for what it's worth, the script does a pretty good job of getting us away from the idea that they would just instantly shoot him and kill him, because they're in a warehouse full of very flammable explosives. So,
well, I mean, there is the gag where they shoot the gun and then it ricochets everywhere, which I guess could be fun if you have this movie, if you have like surround speakers.
Yeah,
like that gag would probably fit.
And what it does is like it shows you that like even though all these people have guns, there's going to be consequences if you fire your gun in here, similar to like with aliens, right? They go in and they have to collect all the mags, and then you still have the few of them that are like, no, I'm going to keep this gun, and they don't end up blowing up the reactor down there, but they do break the rules.
Did you just compare this movie to David Cameron's Aliens?
I wouldn't say I compared it, but I did point out one small similarity between the two.
Also, I like too at the end where when the police show up, they get into this big gunfight. With you have the arms dealers, and then you have the police.
Mm.
And apparently nobody gets shot.
Nope.
Or at least
everybody's
there's
a terrible
no, like,
shot.
There's no like John Woo slow motion. Somebody gets shot, and well, granted, it's technically a kids movie.
Yeah, you're not gonna really show anybody getting shot. I mean, you can see a guy like, a grenade explodes near him, and he does a flip at the top of the camera to indicate that there was an explosion. But realistically, like if the grenade went off that close to that guy, he's dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're not going to show his like head flying into the front of the screen, which would be interesting. Like if this movie like wanted to adhere to that style of comedy, but
or
also
be like
a hard R like, PG-13 or something,
or be like Dumb and Dumber, where they try to. Do you think like a cruder version of this would work? Where like make more sex jokes or try to be more cruder with the humor?
I don't know. I think you would have to change a lot because like the family is still a pretty sincere unit within this like strange world. It's like they're stupid, but they are like a tight, close family unit that loves each other, and then they're thrust into a world where there's all kinds of shit going on TV. Yeah, they walked into an arms deal, like the military is corrupt. So I think like doing something more crude, I don't know if necessarily like gets us to where we need to go.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like sex jokes would fit in this movie.
No, not this style. But if they wanted to just like up the action, because I was just curious that they took the pyro very seriously.
Yeah,
where they're like, we're gonna blow up this truck, we're gonna blow up this car, we're gonna make it look good.
We got $25 million. 20 of it or 5 of it went to our star. let's spend the money, let's blow some shit up.
Yeah, so you could have hired like a actual like military stunt coordinator to sort of have bigger action moments, but you've got the stuff where Tom Arnold just like slowly changes direction. He like jukes the guy that's chasing him, and then that guy trips, and then the guy after him, and like 10, 12 people all pile up on this one guy on the ground. And so it's a little like Three Stooges like in that way, which is okay, but it's just like I don't even understand why go big on the pyro if that's going to be the tone. So I would like to see some of like the maybe somebody does get shot, but like Tom Arnold is still this crazy version of himself, because then it's even more outlandish that like despite the fact that people are maybe dying around him or that like he's in legitimate danger the whole time, that he still is this character.
Somebody does place a bomb on his car and tries to shoot him off the road.
Indeed.
And then he realizes that there's a bee in there, and then he tries to kill the bee with the shoe, and then the car explodes and somehow doesn't injure him at all. They don't even do like the cutaway gag where like there's smoke coming out of his face like they do a lot of times in like live action slapstick.
Yeah.
Where to show somebody getting hurt but not dying.
He's not even burnt,
No.
He looks the same.
Like that was one powerful shoe.
Right. I know he held it in front of his face when the car exploded and it protected him. But I think one of my favorite sort of running gags throughout the movie is that the first time I think the Colonel sees him, he's got like the tire inner tube around his neck and he's like strangling himself with it. And they're just like, he's a genius. I'm like, excuse me?
I think he's a genius? I think he's trying. Stanley Stupid is trying to put the tire on.
Something like
and
that,
he's struggling with it.
Yeah, he gets tied up in it, but at the very beginning, they're like, he's got to be brilliant and daring to be here, right? They're like, oh, this guy has huge balls walking in here with all of this military, all of this weaponry,
all these
around.
guns, and
exactly, not scared at all. And I think I didn't keep track, but I know there was at least 2 instances where they were like, okay, we tried to kill him, he's gonna be dead. And then he pops up again, and they're like, "Okay, well, we really got to do it right this time."
It's during the "I'm my own grandpa" scene because they think he's dead. It's like, not anymore, or not. And then just randomly put on the talk show, and then there he is.
Yeah, that moment, like I legitimately laughed at that because you got these 2 guys who finally think that we've tried to kill him 2 or 3 times. They turn on the TV and you see this asshole like, I'm my own grandpa. I would be livid if I was that colonel. Like, how are we seriously like this incompetent?
We're still fucking dealing with this guy.
Exactly. And to have him like pop up on the TV, not even like in any other context other than he's singing a song about him being his own grandfather. It's like rubbing it in their face that him being that stupid is still working for him somehow.
I just looked it up. There is a version of "I Am My Own Grandpa" by Willie Nelson.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to listen to that when we're done recording here. I'll get in copyright trouble if I put it in the episode, but everyone should know that it's out there.
I think he record now. What's funny too is that he recorded this in 2001.
I mean, if this movie did nothing else other than inspire Willie Nelson to record a version of "I'm My Own Grandpa," then I think it's a success.
Yes, it is.
We got to take the wins that we can get for something like this. And I will say, too, that I was kind of impressed by, well, the fact that they decided to include this long-winded musical number in this movie. But B, that I think it actually adds up. Like when I listen to the lyrics, I'm like, okay, I think it technically makes sense. So of all the stupid things that actually do happen in this movie, I'm like, this is accurate. Like this is him actually reasoning something out that like nobody else would think of, but it does technically make sense. So he's not exactly wrong, which makes it a little bit more endearing because it's like it's coming from a real place for him. But then I had to stop and think.
You also have the music too.
Yes. Yes, that tune is very catchy, and I couldn't stop myself on on the way to bed. And it was in my head basically until I fell asleep. But I also had to think that Stanley was definitely practicing this song before he went on television. Not Tom Arnold, but the fact that Stanley just burst into song and like didn't miss a beat the whole way.
And also, while I'm at it, and before I forget, can I like make a plea with Warner Brothers and maybe Warner Brothers? I believe it's the Warner Archives or yeah, it's the Warner Archive label. Can you put this movie on Blu-ray, please?
So you don't have to rewind it on your
so
VHS.
I don't have to rewind. So I have to watch it on VHS, and I believe the DVD is out of print. And hey, in 2 years you got the 20th anniversary. So Warner Archive, if you're listening, I'm sure Tom Arnold would be thrilled to talk about this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
because he is very active. He is very active on Twitter. I'm sure if somebody reached out to him, it's like, hey, it's 30th anniversary of the Stupids. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, that would be interesting, honestly. Like, because of how poorly this movie was received.
Bug Hall, the child, I believe he still works.
It doesn't look familiar and like, just off the top of my head.
Yeah, he was in the Little Rascals. Do you remember the soccer movie, The Big Green?
No, I remember Little Rascals remake, but not The Big Green.
Yeah, The Big Green was another childhood favorite. It's Steve Guttenberg with a shitty soccer team. It's basically like a redo of the Mighty Ducks, but even more slapstick.
Okay, I mean, I could enjoy.
Or like the Mighty Ducks in soccer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Where it's like you have let's take a team of misfits and shitty players and go from there.
Bad News Bears, yeah. Not completely unfamiliar territory. Just
no.
We'll switch sports every now and then to let everyone know that we're still trying. But yeah, like it would be great to actually hear like John Landis talk about this movie in detail. And
apparently, he is not ashamed. At least according to IMDb, or is IMDb or Wikipedia, he's not ashamed of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to.
He basically said,
that's what I want to hear from
him. I made this movie for 10-year-olds.
Yeah, I don't think he should be ashamed of it. I mean, it sucks that maybe this sort of tanked an otherwise upward career because he really didn't move on to a ton after this that, you know, was in the same realm as stuff that he was doing before. But, you know, he directed a few episodes of Psych, which is a TV show that I loved. He worked on Fear Itself as well, Masters of Horror for a couple years. Awesome. So he did the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids TV show too. So talk about a little bit of connective tissue.
Yeah. Also, I think, isn't he like 80?
Well, I mean, he's gonna be.
Well, I mean, he did Blues Brothers 2000 after this, but did this kind of kill his career?
I mean,
or at least we're not going to get that and the Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, because he looks like he did the Cronenberg Chronicles TV movie, did a couple Michael Jackson music videos, and then Mr. Warmth, the Don Rickles project, which well received, but
yeah, that was an HBO documentary.
Okay. And yeah, it's like I know Franklin and Bash. It's not really a show that I watch, but direct an episode of that. Never heard of Burke and Hare or Stanley's Superhero Kindergarten, but you know, he was doing that up until just recently. So 2021 to 2023. Did 26 episodes of that, so kind of back in the wheelhouse of making stuff for kids.
So he's still kind of sort of active. I believe I believe he's the one that basically a couple of years ago said that that George, because I think he's in part of that pack with like Lucas, Coppola, Spielberg, and Brian De Palma.
The TCM guys.
Yeah, and that there were, I believe he was the one that started spreading the rumors that Lucas was working on putting the original trilogy up, or the unaltered version of the original trilogy.
Was there truth to that, or he just put the rumor out there?
I think he just put the rumor out there. Also, Landis is only 73.
Yeah, he'll be 80 in 2030, I think. So he's getting there.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood's still working. Anthony Hopkins is still working.
Ridley Scott's 86. And he's got, what, 3 movies in the process?
Yeah, Ridley Scott seems like snarkier than he's ever been. I love it. I mean, I love Ridley Scott. My dog's name is Ridley Scott, so.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Clint Eastwood, I just saw where his new movie is just finished post-production and that Warner Brothers is very happy with what they've seen. So we could get one last hurrah from Clint. I don't think this will be goodbye for him.
He clearly likes what he does, you know. He's in his 90s, right? So there's still room for Landis to come back and make a rated R version of the Stupids. The more Stupids. I mean, Tom Arnold, he's still around, right?
Yeah, he's on Twitter all the time.
There you go. So, I mean, I feel like we're at least partially responsible for the upswing in Sucker Punch talk, and you know, I don't know if it probably didn't get back to Zack Snyder, but it might have, because all of a sudden, like, it popped up again that he wanted to re-release his like director's cut of Sucker Punch. People are talking about it. So
yeah, I think he said the last thing, or the thing that I saw, is that basically he said the movie I wanted to release wasn't done. That the director's cut, what is it really a director's cut, or the one that's on the Blu-ray, and that Warner Brothers has all the footage and let me in the vault and put together what I wanted to do. But who knows?
Is this going to be like the new Zack Snyder sort of methodology? Is like release the movie that the studio wants, blame the studio for it not being good enough, and then when I circle back and I'm like, hey, well, I really have a version out there of this movie that's better than this one, and I'm gonna release that one too, but you have to watch the bad ones first, you know, like, because he's doing that with Rebel Moon, right?
Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon. Apparently, the long version is going to be 6 hours in 2 parts. And last I saw, it was a borderline NC-17.
All right. Well,
apparently the novelization has like a hardcore rape scene, and or the violence is really, really, really nasty. So it's basically like, yeah, watch this shitty version on Netflix where all the bad words are cut out. The editing is horrible because we have to cut out any sign of blood and gore. But just wait this summer. We'll release the real version if Netflix allows me.
It's gonna be the Snyder cut for every single movie that he does beyond this point. But I mean, you saw like the fan demand for the Snyder cut of Justice League ended up sort of working. So
because of what happened with his daughter and Joss Whedon fucking it up.
Yeah,
and then Joss Whedon eventually getting canceled. I think that's what caught when like Me Too started to become a big thing, and all these allegations against Joss Whedon. That's what kind of led the release of Snyder Cut version, or when that like came to be.
Yeah, but I mean, really, all this is just to say that John Landis, or anybody that works for John Landis or knows him, if you're listening, we want
we want an audio commentary.
Yeah,
we want. We if Criterion, if you're or Arrow Video, because Arrow does release like goofy comedies and shit.
Yeah.
New Line, give it to Arrow. We can get John Landis to talk about it. We can get one of the third act or any actor that worked on the project. Get the production designer to talk about it, because a lot of times what I've noticed with Arrow and like Second Sight, some of the smaller studios, if the big wigs don't want to talk about it, they'll get the production designer, they'll get the second music assistant to talk about it.
Anybody.
They'll get the camera operator. If like the DP doesn't want to talk about it, they'll get like the camera operator's second assistant.
Whoever's clever, let's go. 2 years from now, 30th anniversary, we're putting it on the map right now. John Landis, we're hoping that you get reinvigorated and you reach out to Tom Arnold and you make the version of this movie that's not for 10-year-olds, make the one that's for 40-year-olds like me that want to see the real action, the real explosions, the real violence, but keep Tom Arnold and the family equally as stupid. That's
or
the
hell,
movie right there.
Or hell, do you think they could do a sequel?
Yeah, I think you
because
could.
Tom Arnold is still kicking.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the two Alex McKenna, I believe, is still working.
Mm-hmm.
Or I went through all of these actors' IMDb pages and Wikipedia pages to see if anybody of them are still working.
Yeah, Alex McKenna was a name that I'm like, I think I recognize this, but then I don't know that I've seen her in anything.
I think she was in some big CW show. Or some.
She was the voice of Sadie Adler in Red Dead Redemption 2.
She was in the 90210 reboot.
Oh. So there you go. John, if you're listening, everybody's out there willing to, well, I don't know if they're willing, but yes, let's make it a full-on, like, rated R adult comedy. Have fun with it, just like you did with this one. And I think, sort of it being absurdist and it's like it wasn't meta in the way that some of these newer films sort of lean into that, but it is self-aware in the fact that it knows that it's making something that's intentionally stupid. So a little bit maybe ahead of its time that way. So yeah, let's roll it back. Let's get that anniversary track going, and then sequel in 27. It's not that far off. We got time.
Yeah, I'm sure Tom Arnold would be willing to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you give him $5 million again, that's it's low by today's standards, but
it'll pay the bill, because I believe for the most part he's just on Twitter and does bashes Trump all the time, and does stand-up gigs.
Yeah, so there you go.
And he
Tom.
gets some of Roseanne's money from the divorce.
Yeah, well, that money has deep pockets. But Tom, yeah, if you're listening to this, come on the show. We'll talk bad movies we love. You can talk about the stupids with me. I'll find you on Twitter and let you know.
Or like Carpool or Big Bully.
Oh, yeah. Be like, so tell us about 1996. That seems like it was a great year for you, right?
Or tell us some exit wound stories.
Yes, please. I want to hear these Steven Seagal stories.
There's a funny story where apparently, I'm not sure if you've heard this, where apparently Steven Seagal got a big argument with the director where he didn't want to rehearse. And it turns out that it's basically you go into one door goes into the water, one door goes onto the boat, onto like the boat or the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes into the one with the boat, or he goes into the one with the water. The hair dye, because he was dyeing his hair black, all the hair dye starts coming out of the water, and
like an oil spill.
And everybody's laughing their ass off because Steven Seagal wouldn't rehearse. He didn't like rehearsal. He just wanted to do his shit. And if only he spent 5 minutes rehearsal knowing, don't go in this door, go in that door.
Yep. Well, when you're a gigantic blowhard, sometimes you just can't get out of your own way. And sometimes you get embarrassed for it. But speaking of embarrassing, I think now's a good time to hop over to Critics Corner. And we'll see what some of the critics had to say. A lot of these, I don't even see reviews,
IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes doesn't have any of the day reviews.
They don't.
Like, I guess everybody skipped it. I tried looking to see if there was a Roger Ebert review, because
Ebert would have had an interesting take on this, but we'll go, I guess, in reverse chronological order. So we'll start with 2017 is the most recent critics review on the board, and that's Ann Bilson. She gave it a splat. Is that what that is, right? It's a splatted tomato. I always thought it was pickles for the longest time. And I was like, well, I like pickles. But she said, it's so screamingly unfunny, it verges on the surreal. What do you mean verges? Like, this movie is 100% surreal. And I think that might be one of the key indicators as to like why people didn't like it, because I mean, this is 2017 too. You have plenty of time to catch up on sort of like what absurdist surreal humor is at this point. There have been movies made sort of like in the surreal fashion as well. So kind of weird to think that it only verges on the surreal, because I feel like it's, you know, at least knee deep in the surreal.
I'm looking through the Siskel and Ebert worst of 1996. The Stupids is not on that list, so I don't think unfortunately, I don't think they saw it.
Well, that's a bummer. I feel like they need to
They
see it.
they did put
They
Joe's
needed to
Apartment
watch.
on that list.
Oh shit, we'll come back for Joe's Apartment another time.
And
It's a fun one.
Was I don't think House Arrest was a Tom Arnold movie, was it?
House Arrest. Who's in House Arrest? I'm thinking of House Guest. That's the one with Sinbad, right?
I don't know.
All right. Well, anyway, moving on. We're gonna go back to 2005. So still not a current one, or not one from the year that it came out. This is Emily Blunt. Not that Emily Blunt, by the way. But she says, really, didn't the title kind of leak the forethought to this mess? And again, yes, it is called The Stupids for a reason. So yes, it's going to be a mess. Yes, it's going to be stupid. But I think to go into a movie that's called The Stupids and expect it to not be stupid is the fault of maybe the reviewer at that point.
Pretty much.
Yeah, if we go a little further down the chart, we'll go back to 2002. And this is Bob Bloom from Journal and Courier in Lafayette, Indiana. And he says the title says it all. Totally not funny. But he gave it a 2 out of 5. So look.
Does he have an actual review where he reasons why it's why it's a 2 out of 5?
I mean,
not like a 1 out of 5?
He might, but there's no clickable link here, unfortunately. It says full review, but then it doesn't access anything. It just it gives a score because he doesn't want his name associated. But we'll get into some better ones now. So we're gonna go to Phil Villarreal from the Arizona Daily Star. He gave it a positive tomato. This madcap fun. It's Tom Arnold's finest hour, though that's not saying much. So he gives him credit and shades him at the same time, but he gave it a 3 out of 5. So, 6 out of 10 is right in the wheelhouse range of sort of what we see. Like I said, Letterboxd of 5.8. So it's right about there when it comes down to like overall user score. So that's pretty good, I would say. You said this movie's a 6 out of 10. I think that's complimentary. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got one left on the board.
I think Roger Ebert did semi-review. I am on a WordPress called Ebert Hates You. And it's the reviews he didn't want you to read. Now I don't know if this is AI, but let me see if
I hope it is AI, because at this point that would just be ridiculous.
The Stupids is at heart profoundly silly and loving. That's why it made me think of Roadhouse. It stands in amazement as the Stupids and their extended family unveil one strategy after another to get attention, carve out space, and find love. It doesn't mock their efforts, dysfunctional as they are, because I'm going to call bullshit on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little too complimentary, but I don't know. Maybe Ebert would have liked this. Sometimes he's just in a mood. Sometimes he likes bad stuff. You never know. But we've got one left on the Rotten Tomatoes board, and that's Shane Burridge from Rec Arts Movies Reviews. Also gave it a tomato, but no score. Says the humor of the Stupids is a lot smarter than the title suggests. Finally, at least somebody understands that, because it's not easy to write something sort of this stupid on purpose. with the intent of it being for a movie called The Stupids, like it still takes effort to sort of put in what they put in. That's why, like I pointed out, sort of the self-awareness or the joke of him becoming self-aware while pretending to be a plant. Like, that's a little bit further down the line on that joke than him simply hiding behind a plant that he knows, or that we all know that he can't hide behind, and that the driver can obviously see and hear him screaming. So he's not really hiding either. But yeah, I imagine even if there was a Metacritic rating and a board to read from, it would probably be pretty similar to that. But, we've got 4% overall of the reviews for The Stupids on Letterboxd are 5-star, and 10% are half-star. So, 4%'s not that bad. It makes up a bigger chunk than the 4.5-star ratings. But if you include everything that's over 3 stars, you get, let's see, it's 16, 23, 30, 32, 36% of the total reviews are 3 stars and higher. Most of them are lower, but that's still not bad. Not bad at all. I would take that. But I do also feel like I can't believe I had to pay for this movie.
I did find something on Roger Ebert and The Stupids. Somebody asked him basically, why do you review like art movies and foreign movies, but if it's something like The Fan, McHale's Navy, The Stupids, that you won't review? This is unfair. You should be unbiased. His response: "Thank you for your letter, which I will use in response to people who say I review too much mainstream crap. Actually, I try to review virtually everything of significance that opens theatrically. Last year, I reviewed more than 260 movies. Some of the titles you mentioned never opened theatrically in Chicago. In other cases, they opened while I was away on vacation, at a film festival, etc. I hope that when my archives are assembled, the lack of The Stupids will pass unnoticed."
All right.
From the great Roger Ebert.
He's still throwing some shade here and there. I mean, but
from the Movie Man 1997.
I mean, look, I get it. This is not something that Roger Ebert wants to spend his time reviewing, and that's okay. It's hard. There's 10,000 movies, some crazy number like that comes out every year. I don't know if it's quite that high, but it's like 1,500, 2,000 movies are coming out in a year. You're not going to be able to review them all. So the fact that he even reviewed 260 is pretty damn good. But give him a break on The Stupids.
I like that he actually mentioned the name, because I went on Google and tried to find any, or no, I'm on Roger Ebert's site and basically typed in the word The Stupids and tried to see if there's any resemblance of either a review or anything, any comment of it.
We'll have to ask Scott Cole, who is a Ebert historian, if he remembers seeing them ever talk about The Stupids,
or any Tom Arnold movie of that era.
Did Roger Ebert ever watch any movie where Tom Arnold was the lead actor? Is going to be the question that we have to pose to Scott, and we'll find out. Because if you had to watch 3 of these in a year, I could see watching one of them being like, I'm not going to go for those other 2.
Yeah, he did. I assume he did True Lies. I assume he did Exit Wounds.
Yeah, you'd probably think so.
Because he got sick in 2005. So, and Exit Wounds was, I think, 2001. So yeah, go on about. Did you find any more positive critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes or Letterboxd?
I didn't, but the top most popular review on Letterboxd is a 4-star review, but I'll read it. It starts with this quote: "The true pandemic of this world is ignorance," from Chet Hanks, and the review then goes on to say, "Maybe by accident, one of the best conspiracy movies of all time. As a Hollywood zillionaire who killed kids and got away with it, John Landis sees theorists as stupids, but in parentheses, somehow understands we're all conspiracists of our own truths and lies. So he made a kids movie about pervasive paranoia, obsession, and mistrust, CIA police, and postal plots, spook program newspapers, Kubrick subliminals, teleportation, child soldiers and extraterrestrials, COINTELPRO, academic astronomy, stolen laptop hacking, in parentheses again, quote, in this age of microtechnology, the computers are gateway to information, end quote, end parentheses, man created God and children mistaking their mom for some kind of ape woman, a crypto hominid. Whew. What's stupid about that? Deep politics and the death of Vic Morrow. Wow. This is a way longer review that goes on beyond that. This is like a 10-page essay. But it's out there on Letterboxd if you want to read it, from PD187. But it is the top review under this movie's page. So if you really want to dive deep down that rabbit hole, please, I implore you to do so. But we'll be here all night if I just sit here and continue to read this thing. So please take a look at it. But yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to really talk about with this movie? I don't think I asked you at the onset. I mean, obviously you brought this to Bad Movies We Love, but like, what is it about this movie that makes you love it?
It's stupidity, and that I loved it as a child, and I was still laughing my ass off watching it this afternoon.
There you go. That's a good reason.
Just like all the stupid wordplay with it, and how there were jokes that actually fly over your head as a child.
Yeah, I think that was something I liked about it this time. You see some of those jokes when you're a kid, they're not for you. And that's why, you know, when he says like he made a movie for 10-year-olds, I'm like, well, yeah, you kind of did, but there's a lot of adult stuff in there too. So you're trying to entertain the dads in these families. So you make like the stupid dad the hero that saves the day at the end, even though he doesn't really like do much other than accidentally be good because he's the dad. So it's a weird, like, positive reinforcement mechanism, but you know what? It's still pretty fun. It's incredibly ridiculous, but if you were to like try to show somebody movies that exist that really like push the boundaries of what is allowed to be done, I think especially with like a Hollywood, I mean, this is definitely mainstream being John Landis. So like what Hollywood mainstream movies are sort of allowed to do, I think this is a really good example of like, we're going to really try to like break the barrier here with where we're taking this movie.
In other words, you did not open up this podcast with, Brian, I just watched this movie. What the fuck did I just watch? And why did you have me do this? This was so stupid and beyond.
Look, I had my reservations when I started watching this. I turned it on and, you know, I was like, okay, what kind of movie is this going to be? And like, my wife's like, I can hear your dumbass giggling as I watch this. And I'm like, you know what? As bad as I can see that other people see, you know, I can look at this movie and be like, yeah, this is a bad movie. But at the same time, like, I'm looking sort of like, I'm reading between the lines of like, okay, I already know why people think this is bad. So now I'm trying to understand like why someone thinks this is good. And I think I had a fun experience being able to do that. So thank you.
What did your wife think of the movie, or she didn't finish it?
No, she was watching Friends or something on her iPad. She was she's like, I'm not joining you for this. So she rarely
the joys of Tom Arnold and Christopher Lee and Frankie Faison didn't pique her eye a little bit.
No, unfortunately, but you know, I've tortured her with enough stuff where I make her watch it, and she's upset that she had to watch it after the fact. But she did talk to me last night and say that she's like, well, do I get to come back on the show and do another episode? And I was like, I didn't even know that you wanted to, but of course. So we'll see what she wants to bring to the table after this. Because she'll see it on TV, but she's not like watching it fully most of the time. So we'll see. But I had a good time with it. And, you know, I'm glad that I had a reason to go back and revisit this. And, you know, like many other movies I've talked about on this show, I want a rated R adult oriented version of this idea because I think it can work. And if we don't get that, at least let's pressure John Landis for the next 2 years to do some audio commentary on a Blu-ray release for the 30th. So that way, when it hits that 30 years, it's ready to go.
When you when you put the podcast up or put it on Twitter, please tag at Warner Archive and maybe tag Tom Arnold. And it's like, hey, listen to this. We kind of beg you to talk about it.
Yeah, because I think it is a good showcase for Tom Arnold. Of it, like if you were to like really strip this movie down and be like, what are the good things to take away from it? I think his performance is one of the very best things to take away from it. Like you said, he was sort of like made.
He's game for it.
He is, and that's why when we sort of talked about Tim Allen, it was like
he takes it seriously, or takes it seriously in that if John Landis gave him any notes, it's like be very broad or be very loud and over the top.
Yeah, I would be curious to hear his thoughts.
I can't imagine Jack Nicholson doing this.
I can, but not in this movie. Like in a completely different universe where you want to take this movie a little bit more seriously and you're going to ask Jack to like maybe be a little menacing in a way, then I could see it happening. But to play this sort of slapstick version of the character that we get here, like, yeah, I don't think so.
Can you imagine Jack Nicholson saying, "Oh my God, the drive bee"?
No, I can't.
I can't even see Tim Allen doing it. Tim Allen would be more. I think if the reviews were bad for this, I think a Tim Allen version of this would be even worse. Because I can't see him playing
Santa Claus, right?
Yeah, he did the Santa Claus and the Home Improvement, and then did Toy Story.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just trying to think of like vehicles that he did. He did it's not George of the Jungle, but it's something Jungle.
Oh yeah, right? Jungle to Jungle.
Thank you. Jungle to Jungle.
I remember that movie.
Uh-huh.
Another movie that's a little semi-racist.
Oh, I bet. It's been a long time since I've seen that, but it was definitely
I have it on VHS somewhere.
Well, you can double bill it and go from The Stupids to Jungle. If it's rewound properly.
I think it's on Disney Plus.
I don't know if Tim Allen at the time, like, and not that it was more wholesome, but that like his humor was less slapstick, I think.
I think also Tim Allen's because I remember my mom seeing like a Tim Allen's comedy special on TV, and it was very R-rated and very raunchy.
Yeah, he's basically a pretty good stand-up comic.
It's the opposite of Woody. Or no, of a Buzz Lightyear.
Yes.
And Tim the Tool Man from Home Improvement.
Exactly.
And I think I remember him telling a story that like he was in the elevator and there was a kid that he was in the elevator at a casino where he was doing stand up. And a kid looks and it's like, "Oh, hey, look, it's Buzz Lightyear." And it's like, well, I hope your kid's not going to this show because it's not for kids.
Yeah. Well, we're about to ruin Buzz Lightyear for you. So, I mean, in that way, maybe Tom Arnold's the only person that can play this character. And I'm glad that he did it because I don't know if like this movie actually gets done without him. And, love it or hate it, this movie has a very clear and focused identity. And I think, I always try to look at movies like, do they succeed at what they set out to do? And I think in this case, this is a movie that wanted to be stupid and succeeded in being stupid. So in that way, I can't say that like, hey, it failed its mission. And if it succeeded in its mission, then it was a success in that way. I know it wasn't a financial success. I know people didn't like it, but.
And it kind of sort of killed John Landis's career beyond the Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, maybe just a smidge, but hey, that means he's got more time to do that director's commentary that we want from him. You can make the sequel. I know you're going to be 80 soon, so might as well get it done. But Ryan, yeah, thanks for coming back on the show, man. I want to ask you before we get out of here, like, what's a good gateway drug movie for The Stupids. If you haven't seen The Stupids and you're trying to give somebody a good comp to get them to make that leap, or maybe they love The Stupids and you want to recommend a movie that's also in that neighborhood, what do you got?
I was thinking about this because of because he had the cameo, but there is a little bit of similarity between this and Austin Powers.
Yeah,
especially like towards the end when they're in I almost call him Mr. Evil, in Dr. Evil's lair, and you have all the explosions going off around him and all the slapstick that's involved, or any of the Ernest movies, or any of the Ernest movies that went to theaters, because some of those direct-to-video movies are really, really bad.
Yeah, and that's
even
also
for
a series
even for
that focuses on a sort of dumb main character.
Yeah,
a good one. Yeah, I had to like rack my brain, like thinking of movies that exist within this sort of comedy sphere, and I was like, all right,
a character that could be like mentally challenged, but it's played for laughs.
Well, not just that, but like sort of like just the overall tone of this movie, it being aimed at kids, but
I would say Dumb and Dumber, but that's more aimed at adults and college people.
Yeah, and I think, like I said earlier, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is just like it's too smart and well executed of a film to really fall in line with that. But I thought Dennis the Menace, the John Ritter movie, I think that might be a decent one. But the other one that came to mind was Three Ninjas. Like I know they're way different, but I think tonally, Three Ninjas is very close to this.
I think the only Three Ninjas movie I saw was the second one and the one with Hulk Hogan. High Noon at Mega Mountain.
I think that's the third one, which I didn't see. I saw the first two, which I was a big fan of when I was a kid.
Actually, that's the fourth one.
Oh wow!
It was Jim Varney's last movie, and I believe he's the bad guy.
Well, there you go. So yeah, if you don't have room for an Ernest movie, maybe you can do Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain. Oh, I appreciate your time, man. It's always fun talking to you.
And hey, we spent 2 hours talking about this movie.
Yeah, we definitely got sidetracked a little bit.
And
there.
I don't think you planned this on being 2 hours.
No, I think I said it from like 5. I forgot what I set the Zoom meeting to because it doesn't default to 2 hours, and so maybe I messed it up.
I think it defaulted for 2 hours, but be honest, when you set this up or we're watching this last night, like there's no way we could talk this movie for 2 hours, maybe an hour.
I figured like 90 minutes was probably safe, but yeah, we got into like a little Zack Snyder territory. So, it's a good pairing. If you listen to the Sucker Punch episode, you got to come back for this one. So that way you can connect the dots and see that like, hey, we maybe did have something to do with this Sucker Punch reappraisal. I'll take credit for it. It's fine.
I will too. Thanks a lot, Nick.
Yeah, no problem, man. And I think I'm going to find a way where we could maybe do all of the Ninja Turtles movies, but I have a different guest for each of them because you want to do Turtles in Time, right?
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah.
Also, the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie comes out on Disney Plus May the 4th or May the 1st.
Okay.
I do not know if it's the R-rated version or not because Disney is leaning more into that.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the director's cut?
I did, and it's a lot better than the original release, I think. So
if you have the DVD of like the theatrical cut, watch that with the audio commentary.
Okay.
It's hysterical. It's surprisingly profane, and there is a John Landis joke.
Okay. Look at that.
It's
bring it all back to the Stupids.
Yeah, it's towards the end when there's a wire joke. Or there's a scene where I think Electra's on a wire. And I think either Mark Steven Johnson or the other guy that's with them is like, well, at least we didn't hire John Landis for this.
Yeah,
and then there's this eerie silence, and that's why they put the disclaimers on the DVDs and the Blu-rays when you put them up. It says these comments do not represent Fox or Sony or whoever.
If you're gonna sue somebody, sue the person saying it, not the studio.
Yeah, don't sue us if we make a bad joke or a racist joke or.
Ooh, all right, well, I'm gonna have to find that commentary. I think I do have it though, and this is the commentary on the director's cut DVD or the original.
Oh no, on the theatrical cut.
Okay, I'll look for it. I think I have it as part of like a Marvel pack, but I have to look for that.
Yeah, it's hysterical,
Well,
and there are a lot there are a lot of f bombs, even though the movie's PG-13, and also there's a lot of complaining that like Marvel didn't give him the money, or they only gave him the money after Spider-Man came out, but it was they were halfway through production, so they upped the budget. And he complains about some of the CGI being bad, and about how Marvel didn't want the costume to look too bright red. So there's a scene, I think the scene in like the biker bar, where the costume was actually pit black because they were still in testing mode. They thought a bright red costume would be too silly. Which is why in the X-Men movies they all wear black and blue and not the big colorful yellow and blue.
Well, I think they're going to rectify that soon, but that's a conversation for a different time. But yeah, thank you so much, man. I never would have watched this movie again if you didn't suggest it. So it's always nice to go back and sort of look at something, especially when it's something that I had seen, but something that had changed, or that I had changed so much since the last time I saw it. It really puts an entirely different spin on it. So. I do appreciate it.
And that you still appreciated it and laughed at it.
Differently, yes, but I did have a good time with it. So
you didn't come whining and bitching to me.
You owe me $4 for that rental. No, of course not. I always have fun doing the show, and I let the guests pick the movie for a reason, because I want to know what speaks to you and why you love these things. So that's more than enough to get me over the hump to watch something.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Ryan. I'll talk to you soon. All right, bud?
All right. Laters.
Cool. Have a good night.
My thanks once again to Ryan for coming on the show and giving me an excuse to kill a few brain cells in the process. If you had fun listening to us chat, you can catch Ryan talking movies on X at TheChewDefense, and also on Letterboxd, probably some other places too, but I'm going to make sure that I put up the links for those in particular in the show notes for you. And of course, thank you to everyone who took the time to listen to this episode. I know you have a lot of choices when it comes to podcasts, and I appreciate you spending your time with us. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you do, please consider leaving a rating on your podcast platform of choice and telling a friend about it. And the support page is now live over at ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/badmovieswelove. I'd love to hear from you, so if you have a bad movie you love or would like to be a guest on the show, you can contact me at badmovieswelove@thesheist.com or at badmovieswelove on Twitter and Instagram, and that's love with an LUV on the socials. And until next time, take care, be well, and have fun however you get your movies.